everybody, welcome back to Knitting Butterflies. Hi. This is Emily, and my name is Emily, and I have my son here. What's your name?
Starboy.
Starboy. We don't put his real name on the internet, so he's decided to call himself Starboy for the episode today. So I hope you all are doing well. I wanted to take a minute and thank all of the all the people who sent the wonderful messages and comments and everything from switching to video instead of audio. I really, really appreciate it. I am recording the audio of this right now as well, so I'll be able to turn that into an audio file for you. I wasn't able to do that with the last episode, sorry, but I'm taking measures to make sure that we have that for this episode and all future episodes. So thank you guys so much for the comments and everything, for watching, for listening, for everything. I feel like it was a really great success, and it was a whole lot of fun. And Starboy here is excited to be on an episode of the podcast, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we might as well go ahead and get started. I have a lot of projects. Do you want me to start my projects, or do you want to go first?
I want to go first.
You want to go first? Okay. Tell our friends what you are knitting, and make sure you hold it up so they can see it.
I'm knitting a hat.
You're knitting a hat. How old are you?
8.
You're 8. Like 8.5 almost, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So why are you home today?
Because I'm sick.
Yep. He was sick last night, so he's staying home with me today. So, and we kind of have a thing with screen time right now, so there's no screen time right now. So, what are you doing instead of watching TV?
Knitting.
Yep, I taught you how to knit. So hold up your, oh, you want to show the yarn?
Yeah.
Okay, let's hold it up so they can see. This is the yarn.
It's Lanloft.
It's called Brown Sheep Company Lanloft Worsted. And this is a variegated, let's find, this is 100% wool.
Yeah.
And here's the colorway. Can you read that?
Aqua Depths.
Aqua Depths. So this is a really beautiful, I made a pair of mittens for my husband out of these. This is out of the same yarn. So, ow. Oh, I just cracked my foot, sorry. Let me move my foot. That's better. Ow. So this is mostly grays and kind of a gray-brown, some dark brown, and then some turquoise.
It has a teensy bit of purple.
A little bit of purple. So it's really, really pretty. And I loved it as mittens, and Starboy here decided that was what he wanted to make his hat out of. So how far into knitting are you?
I think I'm on my second row.
On your second round?
Yeah.
So I started the hat for him. I did a knitted cast on, and we're just going to do, we're having him knit in the round, and only knit. I'm not having him do ribbing or anything. And then when I'm going to have him knit it up without any decreases all the way to the crown. And then when he's done, we're going to sew up the top so it makes that bunchy top. And then we'll make a pom-pom for the top. And if we have yarn left over,
we're going to make the ear flaps.
We're going to make ear flaps, that's right. So hold it up so everybody can see. Hold up your knitting. Nice and big. It's awesome. So it's 80 stitches around. Do you want to say your rhyme? As you do it? No? Okay. We learned a knitting rhyme for it. Because I had made one up and that wasn't correct. So,
what was yours that you made up?
Something about and jump off the floor. Most of it was right. But instead, how does it end?
Off goes Jack.
Off jumps Jack. That's right.
Jumps Jack.
Very good. So we're working on a couple things like not dropping stitches, which is fine. I drop stitches all the time. Or how to fix it when we do drop stitches.
Which I learned how to do.
You learned how to do that. And how to not twist your work, right? Make sure to go in the front door.
To do that.
Front door, that's the back door, babe.
No, this is the front.
Oh, actually, and you dropped the stitch right here, too. So you gotta do this one first. In the front door, right? That leg right here.
Oh.
There you go. So, that is Starboy's knitting. He's pretty excited about it. I need to get you a project bag, huh?
Yeah.
Yep. I have fabric. Maybe I'll make you one. So I have a bunch of knitting and a bunch of spinning to show you. Let me see if I can do this without breaking the camera. So the first, I have one finished object in knitting. I have a couple in spinning. But the first finished objects that I have a pair of these. This is a pair of socks that I started a while ago, like I think I started it New Year's Day. And this is some Deborah Norville yarn. I don't know that I have the ball band with me here. But the yarn is Deborah Norville from Joann. It's the really inexpensive sock yarn that they sell there by Premier Yarn. I think it was $2.50 a ball. But the colorway is called Picasso Marble. It's really pretty. It's not self-striping. It's variegated. And for this, I have homemade sock blockers in here. So, that I just made out of a diaper box. It works. So, for this, I just did a Judy's Magic Cast On, Knit the Foot, Vanilla, Fish Lips Kiss heel, because I really like that heel, and then a 2x2 rib all the way up the cuff. I haven't woven in the ends for these yet, but I will do that because my mom saw me knitting these when we were playing Seven Wonders at her house recently, and she said, "Oh, that looks really cool. I like those socks and it'd match my clothes." And so I said, well, you can have them then. So I went ahead and finished them. So they are done. Here's the other one. They are done except for the ends being woven in so that Grandma can have these. What do you think? Would Grandma like these?
Yeah.
You think so?
It matches some of her clothes.
It matches a lot of her clothes.
Oh.
Yep. So I think she'll like it. I didn't like knitting with this yarn terribly much because of the variegation. I need something a little bit more potato chippy to knit with. So I had done through the foot of the first sock and then left it for a long time and then came back and did the heel and then the cuff and then I took off with the other one when I didn't have any other knitting. So it was kind of a slog to get through some parts of it, but at the same time, I'm glad they're done. I'm glad they're going to a good home. I needed to do some share the love. So, yay that. So that's done. I have a half-finished object. Like I said, I made my sock blockers out of a diaper box for right now because I figured I needed something for you guys. So that's exciting. I have a half-finished object that I'm really, really excited about.
And it even has a zigzag.
It has a zigzag.
A really nice one.
Yeah, thanks, babe. Let me put these on the blocker. Sorry about the noise.
Yeah.
Very cute. Okay. So these are these socks, or this sock. I have only started and finished one. This is the Zigzagular Sock by Susie of the Prairie Girls Knit and Spin podcast. Have you heard of me talk to Susie before?
Wait, you've talked about her?
Yeah. She's a really good friend of mine.
I remember you met her. Well, you've actually been with her for that sleepover that you had.
For Stitches, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's a really great person and podcaster with Danny, who's also awesome. I love these socks. So the yarn, first of all, the pattern is awesome. I did do it cuff down with a heel and gusset like the pattern calls for. I didn't do the Fish Lips Kiss heel because I did it originally and then I didn't like how it fit, which is strange because it should fit the same if you're doing it cuff down and toe up either way, but it didn't fit right. So I decided I ripped out the Fish Lips Kiss heel, came back and did a heel flap and a gusset, and then went all the way back down. I don't think it pooled unusually too on the gusset. I was worried about that, but the yarn is by Yarn Inc. And this is a fairly recent dyer that has come. She opened her Etsy shop not a few months ago. And I've been kind of stalking her on Instagram for a while because every single time she'd post yarn, I'd be like, I want that, I want that, and I want that, and I want that. Every time, like, I want all of her colors, every single one. So she had been doing dye to order for all of her stuff. What are you doing, you cutie? So she had been doing dye to order for all of her stuff, and then she announced she was not going to be doing that as much because it was kind of a strain on her time and creativity and things. So I totally understand. But I decided right then and there that I needed some yarn from her. So I went ahead and ordered 3 skeins from her. Every single one of them is perfect. I just love it so much. And we had a vote on Instagram. What? Oh, okay. He wants to tell you the size of his needles. Starboy, what's the size of your needles?
7s.
US 7s on Chowgu needles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yay. So anyway, this is the Sakura colorway. And it looks like raspberries and chocolate to me. Like a decadent candy shop is what it makes me think of.
Because it looks like the red and the pink look like the raspberries, and then the white, black, and sort of greenish part look like mint chocolate.
That's right. It's like a greenish blue with a dark, Almost like a blackberry color, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks sort of like chocolate.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like the chocolate part. And then the nice pinks in there. So I love this sock. I also did a tubular cast on. It was my first tubular cast on. I had never done that before. And I love doing it. And I love seeing it. And it makes me so happy. So I totally love this sock. I haven't started the second one yet, but I will. So that's my half-finished object. My other knitting, I did work on my sweater that I showed you guys quite a bit last time. This is knit with Knit Circus gradient in her cabaret base, which is Polworth silk. Polworth is the kind of sheep, so it's a mix of Polworth and then silk from silkworms. Cool. And then I'm also using Knit Picks Capra. You have to watch the last episode to see how it progressed, but I was doing some striping that was really interesting, and then I was knitting on it like crazy, and I got down to where you split for the sleeves, and all of my stitch counts were completely wrong, and I could not figure out why. So I had to rip out the whole thing. Thousands of stitches. I had to rip it out and start over. So this is my sweater right now. Reballed it up, and I have to go to the Loopy U to go get some more needles before I can keep working on it. So that is my sweater. I'll figure it out. Right? It's just been snowy. So have I gone up to Fort Collins? No. I haven't gone up to Fort Collins to go get more needles. Because the first thing I did right away was I checked my gauge to make sure that my gauge was right, and it was wrong. I was knitting them on 2s, and I should be knitting them on 3s. So, that's okay. I'm okay with that. In spinning, what do you like about spinning?
Because it's really fun to do it, and
nobody can see your face. Have you spun on my spinning wheel? Yes, you have. You did a little bit.
All I did was a little pedaling.
I let you treadle with me, huh? It's pretty fun. I let you and the girls do it too.
Yeah, I remember doing it.
Yep. So the first thing I wanted to show you was I finished the yarn that I showed you last time. This is by Sleep Season, who is Meg, Sleep Season Meg on Instagram. She's a fantastic dyer. And the colorway is called Snooze Fest. Very good. And it is 100% merino, which the merino is the kind of sheep that it came from.
Another kind of sheep.
There's so many kinds of sheep. There's tons and tons and tons. So, for this is a true 3-ply. I did not chain ply this portion of it at all. This is just a regular 3-ply. If my math is right, so what I did to calculate my yardage, I don't have a Nitty Naughty, so I took my Swift and I put it to the biggest setting that I could, which is 2 yards. And then I wrapped it around and counted the number of times that I wrapped it around. And I counted 319 times that I wrapped it around my Swift, which at 2 yards would be 638 yards.
That's a lot of feet.
It's a lot of yards.
More than 2 meters.
Yeah.
A lot more.
It's a lot more. So I counted a ton of yardage on this. So over 630 yards just in this skein. And it is a fingering weight based on the wraps per inch. I think spinning fiber, you get more yardage for your ounces or for your grams, because I think as long as you're not overspinning it, you're not really squeezing the fibers terribly much, and they have more room to bloom. So I don't know how it worked out, but I got 637 yards of fingering weight yarn in this, and I love it so much. I'm still debating on what I need to knit this into, because I have no idea. What do you think I should knit this into?
Something big, like a blanket?
It wouldn't be big enough for a blanket. It would be big enough for a shawl.
What about a sweater?
Not big enough for a sweater. I haven't decided yet. I'll find something cool to do with it.
How about a shawl?
Maybe a shawl. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Don't forget to tell them about the yarn that you just bought from the Loopy U.
That's actually more yarn than I spun. This one?
Oh, yeah.
This is the same yarn as this.
Oh, I remember you bought that so then you could spin it.
Uh-huh.
I remember that was your most recent one.
Yep. The orange is not part of it. Sorry, that's just my tie. This is the leftovers of that same skein from my singles. So I did a true 3-ply, so I had 3 bobbins, and I was playing from all 3 of them. And then when I ran out of singles from one of them, I stopped and I put that aside, and then I started a new bobbin of chain ply. And so the way that these are plied are a little bit different. And so can you see how the colors are different here?
Sort of.
So this one is a lot brighter, I feel like, than this one is. And you can see the greens a lot better in this one, and you can definitely see the color changes a lot better in this one. This is much more my style of what I like to knit, but this is really pretty too. So I have 60 yards of this, and I'll save it for if I don't have enough for like the bind off on a project that I do with this, then I'll use this, or if I do have enough, then I will just use this for a blanket square on my sock blanket. So that's pretty exciting. So there's that. I have more spinning, another spinning finished object to show you. Let me grab my tag for this. This is fiber by Spin Monkeys, and you haven't seen this yet. Spin Monkeys, I bought this from her Etsy shop, which is spinmonkeys.etsy.com, and her name is Tara. She's lovely, and she had some really beautiful roll-logs in her shop that were pinks and blues and grays, and so I decided to purchase them. I had never bought roll-logs before, but I really wanted to try something with them. So this is 2.5 ounces of fiber that I spun from the roll-logs, and it's coming out a lot more pink on the camera than it is. It's actually mostly gray with just a hint of pink in it, instead of mostly pink with a hint of gray like it's looking. So this is, like I said, it's 2.5 ounces. It is about 180 yards. It's pretty, it's not super consistent. I purposely didn't, and this is a 2-ply by the way, I purposely didn't spin it very consistent because I am going to make a really cute funky hat for my 3-year-old out of this because she likes pink, and I thought it would look really cute on her. And okay, so I lost my helper. But yeah, I really love how this turned out. It's really poofy and fluffy. This is also Targhee and Corriedale. So there are some parts that are definitely underplied, but I'm not really stressing out about it because I feel like the staple length of the Targhee and the Corriedale will help protect it and not let it fall apart. But I don't know, I think it's fun. There's some greenish colors in there, and this was, for me, it was a little bit harder to spin than the merino, but I'm not used to spinning roll-logs. That was my first time, and so it was more of a woolen kind of spinning than I had done in the past. Let me move this over since I'm by myself again. So this was much more of a woolen kind of spinning than I usually spin, more of a worsted type of spinning, and so it was just kind of a different drafting method. It was a different way of pulling it out of the fiber and that kind of stuff. So it was interesting. It was really fun. So that is done. Hooray! And so I don't have photos of that up on my Ravelry page yet because for the photography segment, I'm going to be showing you how I photograph my spinning. Because so far, in like the 3 projects that I've had done, I've tried to keep it really consistent with how I photograph it because that's really important to me. And so yeah, I want to make sure I photograph it consistently. I have one more spinning thing to show you. I know we're at 20 minutes already, but I wanted to show you the last thing I'm working on right now. This is some fiber by Abstract Fiber. And this was, and it's some BFL in the colorway Mossy Rock. This was gifted to me by Amy of the Hudson Valley Knits podcast. And super sweet. And so I'm very thankful for that. This is, I'll show you the fiber before I start. So this is the fiber, first of all. It's really beautiful browns and greens and just a little bit of blue for this braid. I didn't split it at all. I left it mostly in the braid, and I just pull right from the end, like the great big long snake. So I have really long color repeats in my singles, which I'm excited about. I spun until I had 33 grams on the bobbin, and I'll do that again, and then I'll do that again with the leftover. So 34-ish should be what's left over, and then I'll 3-ply it again. And so I feel like since I'm becoming a much more consistent spinner, hopefully I won't have as many singles left over from the 3-ply. But I really like the other one I did, this one is a 2-ply, and I don't enjoy doing a 2-ply as much. I don't enjoy seeing it be put together. I don't really know how to knit with it as well. I think this will be great for a cute little hat, but it's not my preferred ply. I really prefer how this looks with the 3-ply, and I like how a 3-ply knits up as well. I took the class, the Plying the Yarn You Want on Craftsy. I don't remember who the teacher was, but I will put a link to it on the show notes. And she shows you all kinds of samples of 3-plies in color and like what your knitting will look like if you chain ply versus 3-ply versus 2-ply versus all these things, and you know, how does it look in stockinette, and how does it look in cables, and how does it look in this and this and this. And so I wanted this to turn out really smooth if I knit it in stockinette, so that's why I did a 3-ply, because that's what 3-ply does. I wanted this to have a lot of texture if I knit it in stockinette, so that's why I did this one as a 2-ply. So it's kind of cool because that class gave me the ability to really look at what I wanted to do with it and how I wanted it to look when it was knit up, and then I could choose what to do from there. So this is, I also forgot to show you, this is the bobbin that I have spun so far of the abstract fiber. So the singles are, it's pretty consistent with what I did with the sleep season as far as the weight of the singles. So that's just kind of how I spin. I enjoy spinning that way, and until I get tired of it, that's how I'm going to spin. So that's all the works in progress I have right now. Events. So events coming up. First we have the Interweave Yarn Fest is coming up. This is April 16th through 19th in Loveland, Colorado. It is at the Ranch, which is the Budweiser Event Center. And from what I can tell, this is kind of like it's a fiber event. So there will be vendors there. There's tons of classes. There's amazing teachers that are coming. Galena's going to be there, and Bud is here. I believe both of them live in Colorado anyway, so they're both local. But Interweave is in Fort Collins. And so I'm excited about this event. I think it'll be really, really fun. I'm not going to be taking any classes. The classes are a little bit out of my price range right now. But a lot of them are full. So apparently they're really good classes, even though they're more expensive. They're taught by excellent teachers, and I'm sure that they are definitely worth it. But for me, I'm going to stick to just the market. I will be there this Saturday for sure, which is this 18th. So I'll be there for sure on Saturday, possibly a little bit beforehand. There's amazing vendors there. Bijou Basin is going to be there, which I'm really excited about because I need to get some of their yarn to make the hunter gloves from Dark Matter Knits, Elizabeth Green Musselman, the ones with the archery picture that had all that controversy. I loved it so much, and I'm totally buying yarn to make like 6 pairs of that. Not all at once because it's expensive, but I'll be starting Christmas knitting ahead of time, so that's exciting. So Bijou Basin will be there. Your Daily Fiber, which is also in Fort Collins. I think Stitch and Den is going to be there from Estes Park. A lot of the local yarn shops. Longmont Yarn Shop will be there. Shaft will be there because they're in Boulder. Fancy Tiger will be there. I love Fancy Tiger. So a bunch of the local yarn people are going to be around, along with a lot of the fabulous dyers that are local to the area, and wool processors and things like that. So I'm excited to get some more spinning fiber for sure, some yarn. I'm making a couple plans for things I know I already want, but I think it's going to be a really good event, and it should be a lot of fun. So that is April 16th through 19th. The other one that is coming up in the next few months is the Estes Park Wool Market. I will be there for sure, at least one day, possibly two. There's some talk about possibly going up to Estes Park for the weekend for Girls Weekend, and I'm excited about that. But that is always the first weekend in June in Estes Park, Colorado. It's a huge event. It is awesome. It's at the fairgrounds that are there. And last year I only got to go for like an hour, which was really a bummer. We brought all of our kids, and they were crying, and one of them fell out of the stroller on her head, and it was just kind of a mess. So that's why we're planning a Girls Weekend to go to it this year. But this year, I want to go for possibly 2 days. I want to spend one day at the market where I can really look at their stuff. And then I also want to go see all the animals and maybe buy a fleece. Since I have a spinning wheel now, I can actually buy a fleece. And there's a ton of awesome sheep breeders that bring all their stuff to the wool market. And so I'm looking forward to finding a fleece and hopefully getting it processed. I'm not quite ready to do the scouring and carding and all that kind of stuff. So until then, I will just be sending it out for processing, but I think that'll be a really fun experience. So Estes Park Wool Market in the beginning of June. And then also, I don't have the date on it, but the 4-H Fiber Fun Festival also happens at the ranch, and I think that's in May. I'll find out more, and I'll let you know about that. So the other event I wanted to let you know, we had our first virtual knit night on Monday. So today is Thursday, and we had it Monday night. It was awesome. We had 6 people show up, which is more than I thought were going to show up. And it was fantastic. We had people from all over the country. We had really experienced knitters. I think I was the least experienced knitter out of everybody that was there, which was awesome because there was so much really good wisdom. And we talked about how you learn to knit and who taught you how to knit and what kind of cast-ons you use. And there was a woman named Laritza there who was there, and she had some fantastic tips about how to make your Fair Isle knitting more manageable, which was awesome, or like really big projects more manageable. So that was really cool. It was such a great night. I really, really hope that if you want to come, that the next one is scheduled at a time that you can come. I will not be announcing the date on the podcast because I don't want the crazies from YouTube messaging me, if that makes sense. I love all of the regular YouTube people. I don't like the crazies, and I know they're out there. So instead, I will be posting it in the Ravelry group, the future dates and times and everything. We had it on a Monday night at 6:30 last time. I think I'm going to pick a different night this next time and possibly make it at 6 because I know that was a little bit late for some of the East Coast folks, and then next time we'll make sure and do it later for the West Coast folks so it's easier for them. So I'm going to try and mix it up to be accommodating for as many people as possible. I might even do one, if I can get a morning off, I might even do one during the morning so that international folks can join us as well. So keep an eye out for that. That's always going to be in the Ravelry forum as well, and I hope you can come if you want to come. It was such a blast. It went really smoothly. We only had one technical issue and we got it taken care of real quick, and that was kind of it. So I feel like Google Hangouts is a very positive experience for something like that. So I hope you all can come to that. For photography, I have not done photographs of this fiber yet, so I thought what we would do is we would head out to my living room and I would show you how I photograph my finished spinning object because I have a special way that I do it, and I thought that might be fun for you. So that's going to be it for this part of the podcast, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye! Okay, so for my spinning, I just wanted to show you how I do all my photography for my spinning. We are in my kitchen dining area right now. It's kind of a mess, but I try really hard to not make this as intrusive as possible. As awesome as it would be to have a clean house all the time, I try to make this system set up so that I don't have to clean my whole house to take photographs. So sorry about the mess. This is how I live. So this is the fiber that we're going to be photographing today. This is the Angelina Targhee and Corriedale mix. So it has some sparkle, so I'm going to have the task of capturing some of this sparkle in the photographs. And I am using natural light. I do not have any house lights on right now. This is all natural light that you're seeing. I have a big back door right here that the baby is trying to climb up onto. Say hi. Can you say hi? Say hi. So he's just walking around. He's fine. Perfectly safe. But so this is our back door right here with lots of natural light that comes in. Sometimes I would like to go right up to the back door for some of my product photography, but for this, like I said, as the least intrusive amount as possible. Keep it nice and put this plastic cover over the top. We just buy these from Walmart, and we put Velcro on the bottom of it, and then we also put Velcro underneath here. So there's Velcro all underneath there, so that when we're ready to use it, we can put it on and Velcro it on and it will stay. And then when guests come over or when I do photography, I can pop this off and I can put it away. But this will keep our table nice for a long time. My kids have a thing about permanent markers, and I don't like that. And so this is a way to keep them from ruining our table with markers. And you know, this is easier to wipe off with like milk stain or milk spills or Kool-Aid or anything like that. It just keeps the table nice. So I always pop that off for my photography. The first thing I do, since this one's already skeined up or wrapped up like this, I'll go ahead and do some beauty shots of this real quick. Ethan, can you go get me a dime? I need a dime real quick, okay?
One little dime?
Yep, one little dime. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this at a diagonal angle on the table because we like to have diagonal lights. Is that a dime? Thank you. And I have my camera here. I do use my DSLR for all my spinning photography. It has my 50mm 1.8 lens on it. This is the least expensive of my lenses. It's not very expensive. On my Nikon D5200. And so I like to use the 50mm because I can set it to a low aperture. So my settings for this shot are going to be ISO 100 because you want to keep your ISO as low as you can go. So ISO 100. And then I'm using the A mode, which is aperture priority, the little A on there. What that does is I'm setting my aperture, or the size of the hole, to whatever I want it to be. So the aperture is set at 1.8, and then the camera is automatically setting the shutter speed there. So right now the shutter speed is bouncing back and forth between 1/200th and 1/250th of a second. So I don't have to tell it to do the I don't have to tell it to do the shutter speed. All I have to tell it to do is the aperture, and it will take care of the rest for me. So I have this at a diagonal line because diagonal lines are more interesting. I'm setting it at 1.8 to keep it nice and blurry. Make sure it's in focus. Sometimes with the 50mm you have to back up quite a bit to get it in focus. So I can already see that my white balance is off because I forgot to set that. So it's on auto. I need to set it to shade. Let's try that now. And that's too yellow. So let's go to cloudy. I don't have my gray card with me. There we go. Okay. So now I have the white balance set correctly. I have a shot taken. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move this over here just a little bit. I like to have the light going on one side of the yarn and not on the other to get some really interesting shadows. And I'm just going to crouch down here. I'm going to put, you have to back up a little bit. There we go. Okay. So as you can see from the picture that I'm showing you, the very front, this part of the yarn is in focus. Everything behind it is blurry. So for this part, we're going to photograph this in a way that just represents like the handmadeness of it, I guess, and a way that also makes it look contained. So I start with the hank like this, and I just wrap it just a little bit, not a lot. So about that much, and then I kind of make a pile of it in my bowl. Go play with Charlie, please. Thank you. And I try to make like just a nice pile of it. I try to conceal some parts of it, like if I have any ends hanging out or things like that. So I'm trying to just make it look like a nice little pile in there. Can you see that? And the bowl, I like to use the bowl in all of my shoots because then it consistently shows, you'll be able to see that this is less yarn than say a 4-ounce braid that I've done before. Ethan has it for you. So what I'm going to do for this is, again, the same settings, 1.8. I'm going to come directly over the top of it. And it's actually kind of hard for me to see, so I'm going to turn this into live mode on my camera. I'm going to hold it like this so I can see what I'm shooting. There we go. And I'm going to show you what most people would tend to do. They tend to photograph it right in the middle. Just like that. And that's not what I like to do. It looks fine, it has a symmetrical look, but there's not really a lot of art to it. So I'm going to move it over just a little bit. And I'm going to come and photograph it on the left 1/3. And I try to photograph it with almost the whole bowl in the photo so I can see it compared to my other spinning. Make sure it's in focus. It is. And then I also try to do one nice and close. Just like that. So it's on the left 1/3. Do one more. I think that one's out of focus. My strap is in the way. So I'm going to put it more toward the bottom and make sure that it's in focus. And one more. It's not uncommon for me to take 15 pictures of my spinning and then take 3 of them. You can see a little bit of the sparkle in this one. I'm going to see if I can capture some of that a little bit more. I'm turning it off of live mode because I always trust my own eyes better than that of the camera. I'm going to turn this just a little bit so you don't see the tag. There we go. Now this way, it looks kind of like ice cream. To me, it just kind of looks like ice cream in a bowl. So that's how I photograph all of my spinning. The only things that I have to change now are I just have to put my cover back on. There's our dime. I always put a dime in for reference for the width, or sorry, for the weight of the yarn. So now I just have to put my cover back on and my bowl back where it goes, and the rest of it is pretty unintrusive. So I don't have piles and piles of yarn. I try to do this as soon as my spinning is done. And that's pretty much it. So that's how I photograph all of my spinning. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to message me or post on the Ravelry board for Knitting Butterflies podcast. And I would love to hear about how you photograph your spinning. What are some tips that you have about photographing finished spinning objects or objects on the bobbin? I haven't done a lot of bobbin photography yet, but I plan on doing it eventually. And I want to hear your tips for photographing your spinning faux, your spinning bobbins, you're spinning everything. Do you photograph the roving or the raw logs or anything before you start spinning? I typically don't because I'm so excited about spinning it, and most of my spinning happens at night that I don't want to wait. Thank you for taking my camera. That I don't want to wait until the next day when I have natural light again. So typically, at least with the finished object photography, I can do that in the middle of the day and it's not a big deal, but I can't spin during the day because, as you can see, thank you. He's a little crazy. Thank you for bringing me that. Awesome. So, welcome to my life. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you next time.